Hello students, in this video I will show you how to use the attached stats calculator in order to solve questions for homework 13, similar to what we did with homework 12. So in order to do that, when you access your homework, you will see resources here. You're going to click on the link and that is going to take you basically to this website that contains statistics calculators. You will see links to the left connecting you with the correct calculator that you need to use. I'm going to go back to homework 13. The first question says, for a level of confidence 90% with a sample size 28, find the T critical. In this case, we're going to go to the calculator, the statistics calculator, and we're going to navigate to critical value calculators. We will not use the normal distribution because it says find the T critical value, so we're going to use the student T distribution. The level of confidence mentioned in a question is 90%, so we're going to say 90% here, and then the degree of freedom is basically the sample size minus 1. The sample size is 28, so the degree of freedom is 27. And then you're going to click calculate, and that should be your critical value. So I'm going to go ahead to the homework, and I will paste it here. That should be the answer. Question number 2. If the sample size n is 29 and x bar is given 45 and the standard deviation, the sample standard deviation is 6, find the margin of error at a level of confidence 95%. So in order to solve that question, we're going to go to the calculator, navigate to the home page, and then we will use the T estimate of a mean because we're estimating the population mean. So we're going to use the T distribution or the T estimate. In this case, we're going to compute the confidence interval in order to obtain the margin of error. So the sample mean is 45 given in the question. The standard deviation, sample standard deviation is 6. The sample size is 29. And the level of confidence is 95. And then you're going to compute or calculate the confidence interval. You will see here, similar to what we did with the previous homework, you will have the lower bound of the interval, the upper bound of the interval. You will have the confidence interval in this notation, which is basically the sample mean plus or minus the margin of error, or the point estimate plus or minus the margin of error. So here is the margin of error given to us. I will copy that and I will paste it into my homework to check. So I found that the sample size is 28. So we plugged in the numbers and calculated the confidence interval. The mean is 45, the standard deviation is 6. The sample size is 28 and the confidence level is 95, calculated. As you can see, we have the lower bound of the confidence interval, the upper bound of the confidence interval. And we have it in this notation as well, which is the point estimate, that is the sample mean, plus or minus the margin of error. So here is the margin of error. I will use this one. And then I'm going to go to the homework and then I will paste it, see if it take it. It says round to the decimals, but it took it as it is. Also, another way to figure that out, if you don't have this notation and you just end up with the upper bound and the lower bound, you're going to subtract the lower bound from the upper bound. So I'm going to go to an Excel sheet. I'll paste it here so you have access to it. So the lower bound was 42.6734 and the upper bound is 47.3266. I'm going to subtract, so upper bound minus lower bound. That will give you 2 times the margin of error. In order to find one margin of error, you will take that answer and you're going to divide it by 2. And that is basically the margin of error that we have. And as you can see, it's similar to this margin of error that we have here. Just to make sure, I'm just going to paste it again. And as you can see, it's exactly the same one. It tells me that there is no change. So that is another method to figure out the margin of error if you do not have this notation, the third notation right here. For this question, in a survey, 21 people were asked how much they spent on their child's last birthday gift. So the sample size is 21. The results will roughly bell-shaped with a mean of 42, so x bar is 42, and a standard deviation, S, is equal to 8. construct a confidence interval at a 95% confidence. So the level of confidence is 95%. We're going to go again here and we're going to replace these values. So in this case, the mean was 42. The standard deviation was 8. And the sample size was 21. The confidence level is 95 unchanged. And then we're going to calculate again. So what they want us to write the interval as, they want us to write it as the sample mean, which is 42, plus or minus the margin of error. So I have the margin of error here. I'm going to copy that and I will paste it right there. And that is how you're going to figure this out. Or you can basically compute the margin of error manually and then find the interval that way as well. So you can watch this video to figure out how to do it manually. Continuing, here they want you to compute the critical value. So you're going to navigate to the critical value calculator. You're going to go to the home button and then critical value calculator. You're going to plug everything here using the t-distribution, of course. Make sure you choose the correct distribution. For question number 5, similar. Question number 6, they gave you the upper bound and the lower bound, and they want you to figure out the mean and the margin of error. This video shows you how to do it step by step, so follow the video. There isn't a way to do it on the stats calculator website, so this is a question that you need to do manually. Similar with the next question, they give you the upper bound and lower bound, and they want you to write it in the form of x bar plus or minus margin of error. Similar process. In this case, they gave you the x bar plus or minus margin of error, and they want you to figure out the lower bound and the upper bound. This video, if you watch it, it walks you through the process. This is not my video. Here is another video that I go through the process, so you can watch that video and do it manually. Again, this does not require the stats calculator, so you will basically find it manually.